Have you ever been playing a roaring match of your favorite online shooter, whether it's Quake 3, Team Fortress 2, or Counter-Strike, and thought, man, I wish there was more people for me to target in a bigger arena? Well, now you can! Introducing Battle Royale! The new hot trend of the current year. Target any player you come across in this gameplay mode that's never been done before, and if it has, it's never been done on a scale this big! This shirt would have made more sense if I was doing this video when the Fortnite Thanos Infinity War crossover event was going on. So here's how this video is going to go down. I'm going to be doing a bunch of smaller mini reviews based on a bunch of Battle Royale games that have been popular in the genre or just popular in general. Every Battle Royale game you see on this list is important to me in some way regarding the genre. I'm going to be talking about how I feel about the games, I'm going to be talking about what they get right, what they get wrong, things that I personally really like about those games. But because this is an opinion piece, I do bring in some friends, fellow YouTubers, and Twitch streamers to sort of give me their 2 cents on what they like about Battle Royale, hoping that they have a different opinion than mine that can kind of change my mind a little bit about some of the things I don't like. And then at the very end of the video, we're going to take bits from the games that I looked at, what works, throw away what doesn't work, take what some of my pals gave, and use that as well. And then at the very end of this video, I'm going to pitch to you my ideal perfect Battle Royale game. Oh, and I won't be talking about PUBG, simply for the fact that I don't own it, and it doesn't do anything to convince me to buy it. I'm sorry if you came here looking forwards to me ranting about PUBG, but I can't rant about something I've never played. But unless you've been living under a rock for the past decade, I have no doubt that you've at least heard the term Battle Royale getting thrown around. The term itself, to my knowledge, originating from the 1999 Japanese novel and later film adaptation of the same name, about a group of kids that get stuck on an island by some corrupt authority who'd only allow the last surviving child to be released back to their normal life. This concept was later used as inspiration for the Hunger Games, which nobody shut up about back in high school. But like anything that reaches pop culture status in today's world, inspirations are soon to follow, even if Hunger Games itself was a result of inspiration like this. Hold on to your butts, I'm going somewhere with this. Enter Minecraft, the little indie game that could, becoming a worldwide phenomenon and being promoted from the title of indie game up to being published by one of the largest gaming productions in the industry. Sure, the game got itself a bad reputation online for a while because of it being perceived as a game only loved by children, a torch that has been passed on to a new beast that we'll be talking about later.
The spider was not a joke.
Oh yeah, the spider is poison, it won't bite.
I still personally love Minecraft. I've been following it since Alpha 1.3.3, and though I don't play it much today, if at all, I'd say that whether you love it or hate it, you can't overlook Minecraft as one of the biggest games in recent history. Its vast, randomly generated worlds allow for a new personalized experience for each new game you start, with a healthy amount of updates providing veterans and new players with new content every so often. But for some, that openness just wasn't enough. A hole that the modding scene was able to fill, where folks fluent in JavaScript were able to implement their own mechanics such as visuals, shaders, weapons, computers, Pokemon, playing Pokemon, and so much more that increased the longevity of this small little indie game. Modding wasn't always perfect though, forcing mod creators to update their creations each time something as small as a hotfix came out in order to continue being compatible with the game. This discouraged many creators from continuing development on their mods, many of them dying before Minecraft was even finished. But they later got their stride with making the game significantly more mod friendly. One mod, though technically a server mod, not a client-based mod, still continues to kick till this very day, one that I have no doubt that almost every Minecraft player has touched once in their life, and that mod of course is Minecraft Hunger Games. See, I told you I was going somewhere with that. Practically everything about Minecraft Hunger Games is still relevant in today's Battle Royale genre. The premise is simple. Everyone stands in a ring, and at the center of that ring is a bunch of items, such as armor, weapons, and healing items. You're invincible for a short amount of time, and in that time you gotta grab as much loot as you can and try to survive. Unfortunately, it really comes down to whoever can click the fastest, since in my experience I couldn't find any items in the surrounding areas, but maybe I just didn't look hard enough. It was also a bit of a glitchy mess, not quite how I remember it, and in the end I was begging for someone to put me out of my misery. Kill me! Do it! But this, in company with mods for Arma that were basically the same thing, really kicked off the genre of video game battle royales, but we wouldn't hear about it for a few more years.
So, essentially, my take on the Battle Royale genre is the following.
I don't personally like the genre. I feel that it sorely lacks innovation amongst the games that are attempting this style. With that said, there are games like Tetris 99 that take this sort of elimination, mass amounts of players kind of gameplay loop and does something fairly interesting with it. But overall, I find the genre pretty stale and just a current fad in the gaming industry. I'm sure it has interesting parts about it that can be analyzed. Like, there's interesting things going on in the design. I'm sure they are there. I haven't personally looked into them. But overall, I'm fairly disinterested in the Battle Royale genre.
Around the same time as Minecraft was really starting to take off, a small game under the title of Fortnite was trying to push itself onto the scene, which is a really interesting name. I mean, you could have called the game Half Month. I'm sure no one's made that joke, I just looked it up on thesaurus.com. Capitalizing on the Minecraft sandbox trend that was going around, and zombies, because that shit was everywhere back then. Unfortunately, this was a hugely saturated market, with nearly every indie developer under the sun trying to create their own Minecraft clone, with so many more that just did it better than what Fortnite was trying to be. It's not a bad concept, not by any means, but it's not original. And it definitely wasn't the first to try this, and didn't really do anything to stand out. But like your average bottle of Tabasco sauce, sometimes you just gotta weld that shit into a barrel with an extensive amount of salt and let it sit for some odd years before selling it for millions and millions and millions of dollars.
However, it still needs significant refining.
You guys already know the rest. Fortnite became popular by having an optional free-to-play mode where you pit yourself against 99 other players in a large map and aggressively commit stolen dances until someone eventually wins. I don't really care for Fortnite. Not because of the memes or because of the cringe culture that it adopted from Minecraft, but because I just don't find it that fun. The gunplay feels awkward and weapons just don't feel satisfying, with the only real thing I can praise about the game being its charm and lack of taking itself too seriously. I mean, how could you when your eyes don't really move too much? That's creepy. Fortnite also suffers from a problem that I have with nearly every game on this list, being that most of it resorts to you going around looting, not being able to find a single human player, and then when you do, you get killed and somehow get second place. It's a trope of the genre that I'm just not a fan of. I think that there's plenty of ways that you could pad out a game to make it more engaging, while also keeping that looting a large map aspect that it's known for.
One of my favorite aspects of Battle Royale games is the increased amount of variables. The larger sampling of opponents means more varied styles of play, so instead of just one kind of player to contend with, there are several. That can help mix things up when it comes to challenge. In combat games, which make up most of the Battle Royale games for now, high ground is important. With so many players though, there is a better chance of running into low-lying players who try to sneak around and catch you off guard. The maps are also bigger to fit so many players, so you've got room to play long range early on if you like. It all gets even crazier when you start adding in things like different kinds of vehicles, weapon sets that change over time, alterations to the map, and stuff like that. From season to season, even week to week, the same game may end up feeling very different. It's a formula that can add significant longevity to a game that may otherwise get stale very quickly, and it's a trend I'd like to see in other kinds of games, not just shooters.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, a little company who, insert counting to 3 joke here, is getting ready to launch the next installment of one of their most successful franchises, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. This would be the 4th main entry in the Counter-Strike franchise, unless you count Counter-Strike and Counter-Strike Source as one and the same. The original Counter-Strike was simply a mod for one of my favorite single-player first-person shooters out there, Half-Life, that was purchased later by Valve. After porting Counter-Strike Classic from the Gold Source engine to Valve's Source engine, the idea emerged of what would a Counter-Strike game completely forged in Source actually look like. Well, the answer is Counter-Strike Global Offensive. A team-based tactical shooter with gameplay simple enough to feel more like Half-Life 2 rather than Call of Duty, but technical enough to be worthy of becoming a profitable esport. But for many years, that's all it was. Team Blue versus Team Orange. Terrorists win. Enemy spotted. Where's the bomb? Where's the bomb? Where's the bomb? This was until December of 2018, when in an attempt to join in on the Battle Royale craze, the team over at Valve released Operation Okay, just to be totally transparent, this is the Battle Royale game on this list that I expected to enjoy the least, but ended up being possibly my favorite on this list. Originally, I thought that the reason it worked so well was because it had the advantage of building off the foundation of an already existing game, and that's why it was so solid. But Fortnite was the same. It wasn't originally built to be a Battle Royale game, so I suppose that Counter-Strike's Battle Royale mode is just as equal in terms of deserving to be decent as Fortnite. And this take on Battle Royale actually does something that I really feel that the future of Battle Royale games could really learn from. You come equipped with a tablet that actually tells you which sectors of the map have players in it, so you never find yourself aimlessly wandering around looking for players because you always know vaguely where to go. And since the rounds cap at about 18 players, rounds are much shorter and much less of a commitment than other games in this genre. While I personally love the idea of shorter matches, making it easier to come and go as I please, I'd love to see this expanded into a 90+ player arena. That would be incredible. Whereas in Fortnite, where you stand in front of a lootable box and hold the interact button, Counter-Strike requires you to break the crate, and you do so with your bare fist or with a weapon. So at the cost of obtaining your loot quicker, you might be alerting yourself to anyone who's possibly nearby. But on top of CSGO's simple yet solid gunplay making this much more fun, you're able to purchase your preferred weapons, but you have to wait for that weapon to reach you from a delivery drone. This drone flies from the opposite side of the map, risking opponents to be able to shoot down your delivery drone. This is great. There's so much risk versus reward going on here. The whole thing was just so surprisingly engaging. I only wanted to go 1 or 2 matches into this just to get some footage for it, but I ended up playing around 5 and having to force myself to quit just because of how much fun I was having with it. And this is the only game on this list that I actually got number 1 in, or as the Fortnite kids call it, Victory Royale.
Battle Royale games are okay, I guess. Like, you know, they're not really for me. I'll say Tetris 99 is my favorite Battle Royale game on the market right now, because obviously it's very different from the other ones, but it is something that I really like, and that is once you're eliminated from the game, you don't have to wait to start the next game. And I really don't like that with Battle Royale games. Like, I get it. If I suck, you gotta wait in order to, like, see who wins and doesn't suck. But, like, at the same time, please don't make me wait. Because, like, I don't want to have to wait for no reason. I suck. You don't have to make the waiting an add-on because I suck. I already know I suck. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, but Dan, is there any correlation between the fact that you don't like Battle Royale games and you suck at Battle Royale games? Now that's a good question right there. Anyway, I give Battle Royale games a 6 out of 10 and I refuse to up that score until they release Mario Teaches Typing Battle Royale. Alright, see ya.
But with that said, would you believe me if I said that this isn't the only Battle Royale game that originally started as a game that runs on Source Engine, later turned into a free-to-play Battle Royale? That's instant.
Protocol 3. Protect the pilot.
I was just as shocked as you were when I beat Titanfall 2's campaign and in the middle of the credits, BAM! Source Engine technology by Valve Corporation. Just adds to the confusion of asking your friends, hey, do you want to go play some TF2? And when they ask, hey, which TF2 do you mean, Team Fortress 2 or Titanfall? You say, the one that runs on Source Engine.
What happens now?
I'm gonna try my best to keep the history of Titanfall short because I'd love to do a video on this someday. Let me know down in the credits if you want to see that. But all you really need to know is that the development team consists of former Activision staff that were fired after the release of Modern Warfare 2. I'm not really much of a Call of Duty fan. I can't really comment on how much I liked this game because I've never played it. But this group of former Call of Duty creators later founded Respawn Entertainment and started collaborating on ideas that would later become Titanfall over the next couple years. The first game was a hit, with its agile movement options making for unique gunplay in the multiplayer shooter genre, with guns that all felt satisfying to shoot with a nice future aesthetic and giant mechs to top it off. Because as anyone will tell you, giant robots make literally everything better. Kaiju films, giant robots. A heartwarming story about a small child in Maine, giant robot makes it better. A movie about giant robots and even bigger robots! God, do you remember that Optimus Prime April Fool's DLC for Titanfall? The first Titanfall, though a success, fell short with some folks, including myself. The lack of single-player content is what really did it in for me, but all of those problems would soon come to pass when Titanfall was released just a few short years later, promising a single-player campaign where you take on the role of Vinny Vinesauce and work together with BT, your personal Titan. Personal Titan. Okay, cut that out. The campaign alone is worth buying for the game, with some of the most engaging and fun controls I've experienced in a first-person shooter before. It's up there with games like Doom 2016. But none of that really matters right now because in late 2017 it was announced that EA had purchased Titanfall studio Respawn, and for just over a year we were left in the dark to see what the hell they were gonna do with them. EA doesn't have the best reputation, and if you ask me, their games went downhill when they stopped making Hot Wheels games. But in early 2019, it was dropped right onto our laps, Apex Legends, a game that takes place in the Titanfall universe that mixes Champions elements similar to abilities in Overwatch or Quake Champions into the Battle Royale genre, which really encourages teamwork, which I really hope you like because this game forces 3-player teams whether you like it or not. I really wish there was more for me to say about Apex, but at the very least, it's pretty solid. You drop from a ship, scavenge some loot, upgrade your arsenal, run around aimlessly until you encounter another player, get killed, and somehow end up in second place. God damn it. Yeah, Apex isn't immune to this either, which is unfortunate. These characters are so much fun to play and each have a ton of personality to them. And you know I'm gonna go with the robot. What else do you expect from me? I'm a sucker for grappling hooks. And robots.
High five?
It's a shame that the giant robot mechs themselves aren't included in this game. Just imagine 2 squads remaining. It's down to the last 2 to 6 players, and each team gets the ability to call down Proto-Titan, since this is a prequel, I believe, and have an ultimate badass Titan fight to finish off the match. I don't know, maybe after all this time I'm getting burnt out of the Battle Royale genre. At this point I've only played a handful of them, but each of them only managed to introduce a few small things that make it more fun, but not significantly. The callbacks to Titanfall 2 were nice, but at the end it's just another Battle Royale game. Probably the best one on this list at the very least. It's fun and it does a great job at conveying gameplay elements to the player, with each class having their own special skill sets that can benefit everyone on the team, but I think this formula could be tweaked a little bit for the better.
The Battle Royale game I've really got to give the most credit to is Apex. I've respected the pull that this genre has had on players, and I've enjoyed analyzing just why Battle Royale blew up like it did. That triggers that desire in a way that few other genres can. However, I never personally got into the gameplay because I simply had fallen off that shooter kick. Apex takes that core of what makes Battle Royale so compelling and optimizes it in a way that no other game has been able to. Ignoring the brilliant shooting mechanics and gunplay from the best FPS studio in the world, the revival of Left 4 Dead's forgotten contextual ping system and Respawn's push for teamwork has clicked in a way that absolutely no other shooter has ever accomplished. And I say this as somebody who's played more than my fair share of competitive shooters in my lifetime. Thanks to that ping system, you can play Apex without a microphone and contribute as a functioning and critical member of your 3-person squad. Unless you're Trav, because he's garbage. The addition of a second chance revival system, the bonus experience to encourage you to play in a squad with friends so that each match is better, more competitive, and more fun for everyone. The Overwatch-esque cast of unique characters and their own abilities. The optimized gameplay that ensures that Apex is almost too balanced at times. The ability for Pathfinder to grapple onto a zipline. Mozambique here! Respawn thought of almost everything imaginable and kept it secret for long enough to surprise the entire world all at once with the best Battle Royale made so far.
Okay, I think you guys know what's coming next. Probably the strangest Battle Royale game of recent memory. Thankfully, I don't really have to explain it to most of you guys, because it's Tetris. It's fucking Tetris. I can play this with a DDR mat. No! But now, out of all games, Tetris is a Battle Royale. Well, I think anyway. If you consider Battle Royale games being a game where you drop in from a random location and whoever gets the best luck with their loot and a little bit of skill is the winner, then no, Tetris 99 is not a Battle Royale game. But if your definition of Battle Royale is a large surplus of human players in a deathmatch to see which one is the last one standing, then yeah, Tetris 99 is definitely a Battle Royale game. There's not really much to it. If anything, it's just Tetris Versus from almost every console version of Tetris out there, but against 98 other players online. No items, no RNG, well, maybe a little bit of RNG.
I'm in danger!
This is a game that tests your own skill against everyone else's, and in my opinion, it does so better than almost every other Battle Royale game under the sun, and it works for one solid reason. You're not just fighting against other players to be number one, but you're also fighting against yourself. You can lose in Tetris just by your own volition, not because other players got the best of you. When you succeed in Tetris, you're conquering yourself just as much as everyone else. Tetris 99 works because you're engaged with your own survival and rewarded for doing so. Unlike games like Fortnite and Apex, which punish you and only punish you for sitting still, your reward in these games is moving along in the battlefield with the very concept of maybe winning being your only reward. Your only obstacle in the game is being better than everyone else, in contrast with Tetris's 99 goals, which is to be skilled enough not to lose to your own actions. Though it might be the most addicting game on this list in my opinion, it is still just Tetris. The game is rather simple, but I think that's what makes it work. So now that all of that's finally out of the way, what can we learn from each of these Battle Royale games to improve the future of this genre? Well, I have a few ideas, but first let's break down briefly what makes each of these work. Apex incorporates team-based shooter elements into this genre, something that really works with a 3-player team system. Counter-Strike's Danger Zone has semi-constant engagement, as well as plenty of risk versus reward factors going on. And Tetris 99 is all about constant engagement and self-preservation. The best thing I could say that Fortnite does uniquely is its changing seasons, and I'm not really sure how I can incorporate this into a system like this, so we're gonna ignore Fortnite for now. Minecraft Hunger Games was really just to talk about the history of this genre, not really to learn anything from, so we're gonna ignore that too. So when it comes down to it, we have these 3 games. All I really think that we need right now is risk versus reward, constant engagement, and self-preservation. Starting off with constant engagement, my biggest problem with Battle Royale. My first idea is sort of a page out of Titanfall 2, where in Titanfall 2's deathmatch mode there's small little grunts that run around the stage. Killing them will offer you points and etc. towards the team. You could say that that goes against the concept of a multiplayer deathmatch, but in the end it's making the game more interesting for the folks that can't seem to find any other players, and I think that that's one thing that we can add. Counter-Strike already kind of does this with these turrets that are laid all across the map. I also want all players to start off with a pistol, something weak, but something that gives them a fighting chance. And for the grunts, let's make them smaller enemies, maybe like spiders or small little robot dudes, something that's easily noticeable from a distance so you don't get blindsided by these guys, and you're able to take them down anyway. You can still find loot in the surrounding areas, but killing these guys will offer better loot. And let's take a page out of Half-Life 2 and color code these enemies to tell you what kind of enemies they are, and I think Halo does that too, but I've never played Halo. They each have different weapons depending on what color these guys are, and so you know what kind of loot they'll drop as well. And killing them will drop a mod pack. You can't take their gun because it's part of them, so you have to take this small little piece of them and apply it to your weapon. Doing this will completely get rid of the weapon that you had beforehand, so this is a permanent change. Maybe let's make it so you have 2 pistols, so you have 2 weapons that you can modify? Maybe modify one into a fucking sword, I don't fucking know, that'd be kinda cool. You can see these guys all across the map, so taking another page from Danger Zone where it lets you know where other players are, you can't see other players, but you can see these drones all over the map. So all it takes is just to pay attention, look for the dots that disappear, and you know that that's an active area. Your location is never truly compromised. And instead of the ring that funnels every player into the center, it's just gonna mean that more dangerous grunts spawn in these areas. So if you're stuck in there, you're not immediately punished. You can fight your way through it and possibly get better loot to top it off. When it's down to maybe half of the players remaining, portals will open up around the map. You won't know where these take you, so these can be really risky. You could show up somewhere where there's no players, or you can show up where a player is waiting to flank you. When it's down to the last few players, these portals will become color-coded, so you know where you're going, and you know where the last few players are, making it a game of predator versus prey. Do you risk going out past the ring to get some better loot, or do you risk running for another player waiting for one of them to possibly flank you? Killing players obviously lets you steal their upgrades, but again, whatever you change your weapon to, that's a permanent change. These grunts that spawn outside of the ring are meant to kill you. These are meant to be a hassle for you. This is meant to drive you away from the ring, but also drive you towards it if you're feeling ballsy. But then another ring later on just to make sure that players don't linger too far back, and these guys actually do punish you for sitting still. I know I complain about that with Apex and Fortnite, but I think that in the end it's an important mechanic. These guys are meant to kill you. Run. And in the end, the last squad remaining, well, you know the rest. But basically all I wanted to do here was streamline the gameplay. You know where players are vaguely, you risk changing your gun for something that might not be too helpful, but you still got your backup pistol. We can have one of the pistols be moddable, but the other one not. So that way you always have a pistol to fall back on just in case you get a weapon mod that you don't really want to use. fast travel around the map when there's fewer players to really mix it up, and then at the end when it's down to the last 3 squads, you know where to go, you know where they are, finish the job. But that is my pitch for the perfect Battle Royale game. A game that consists of risk versus reward, constant engagement, self-preservation for the most part, and streamlined gameplay that helps players know where to go. Maybe we can incorporate some team-based elements, kind of like how Pathfinder and Apex can see where the next circle is gonna be. Maybe there's a character that can hack into some kind of panel and know what types of enemies are where in the map, or maybe reveal to you where all the current player locations are. I don't know, maybe someday we'll get a Battle Royale game that really ticks all of these boxes off for me. If you have any other suggestions with this concept, please let me know. I'm really open to interpretation. Even if you think that this sucks, if you think that the concept of smaller enemies running around completely ruins the deathmatch element of Battle Royale, let me know. I want to know what you guys have to think. But after all that, I'm gonna go play something else. I'm kind of burnt out of Battle Royale. Besides, I have a game that's been calling my name for a while. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. This video was way outside of my comfort zone, so I probably won't make another video like this anytime soon, but if you did really like it, please let me know down in the comments, because then I'll know if you like me. Or if you have any other critiques, you know, let me know. Also, big thank you to everyone who contributed to this video. Thank you guys so much for helping. You can find links to their channels in the description down below. Or check the pinned comment, because that's where I post all my credits, including videos used, music used, etc. I'd like to personally thank all of the patrons that made this possible, because this was my first Patreon sponsored episode. This video originally started as a review for Apex Legends and then later became what Tetris 99 can teach the Battle Royale genre into how to fix Battle Royale as a whole. Take a look at those patrons on the right, they helped fund this episode and I can't thank them enough, but I would particularly like to thank Chef Kilo, EMT Neutrino, Luigi's Mansion 9000, Slim Jim's Media Bin, Soap, and the SideQuest Gamer. I love you guys. If you would like to become a Patreon sponsor, check the link down in the description, or wait till the very end of the video where you could click that magical button and go to my Patreon page. If you disliked the video, please dislike it. If you didn't dislike the video, do literally anything else. Consider subscribing if you want to catch up on my future content, and hey, maybe consider checking out my previous video. I did a video with Elliot and Sabrina of Super Gaming Brothers, and we talked about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Anyways, that's all. See you guys.